Yes, God. I am really, really excited for this conversation. My name is Megan, and I am the CEO and founder of Yes, God Wellness, and I'm also on a journey to finding my own femininity. So I am really, really excited to discuss this tonight. Yes, God. So I took some notes. And I wanted to just kind of share a little bit of my own insights, just reflecting on my own journey. And this is definitely meant to be kind of an interactive conversation. So if you have questions or things that you'd like to add, please feel free. Yes, I'm excited for this too. Thank you so much for being here. So grateful for all of my amazing people. Yes, God, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to get a little dialed up, trying to get it together. And I'm going to actually talk about getting dialed up and how important that is. And not for a man or not for a partner either, but for yourself. But yes, God, thank you so much for the compliments. So, the first thing I want to talk about is something that I realize is specifically important. And I see this in so many people, in so many friends, and so many women. Hey, is that, hey, Marlene, hey, Damari, hey, Shamika. Yes, God, thank you. Um, The title of this video is Hood Chick to Feminine Goddess. And this is kind of a universal term, right? This hood chick. This is what I mean when I say hood chick. Hey, Labria. I mean, raised in a pretty much low income neighborhood to in a low income family, which my family consisted of a single mother. And but this is not just only about, you know, children of single mothers. This is about what we were exposed to. Okay. But it's very kind of important that being a single mother definitely kind of has a big part to do with this, because in myself as being a single mother for many, many years, I recognize now how I was kind of overcompensating for that masculine presence. And so I want to just start in saying that, talking about masculinity and femininity, and just kind of briefly going over what those two things mean. So at its core, masculinity is the inclination to protect and provide. Okay. And then femininity is the inclination to nurture and reproduce through just being. So, when we get pregnant, we don't really have to do anything. We kind of just can sit, eat, go to the bathroom, we don't really have to work to be pregnant. We just, our natural essence, the fact that we have a womb, we can just reproduce. Okay. And that is femininity at its core. And so it's important to note that we all have masculine and feminine traits. We're all, we're both. So the thing is that when I say that I am learning to embody my divine feminine, it means that I'm skewing now more towards the feminine. It doesn't mean that I don't have any masculine or that I don't want to be masculine. I still definitely have those that innate nature of protecting and providing, of course, and all women do, and all men do. Just like all men have the feminine energy within them as well to nurture and reproduce. But what my belief is that through it's kind of law that there's a feminine energy and then there's a masculine energy, and that's kind of how it is skewed. So, and I also want to be clear that there is a difference between divine masculine and feminine and then toxic masculine and feminine. Okay. So what I am specifically discussing is divine feminine. Okay, not toxic feminine. Okay, and because toxic feminine really looks a lot like masculine. And yes, God. So a lot of times, if you were raised, when I say I'm a hood chick turned feminine goddess, what I mean is that I was raised in a poor neighborhood with a certain mentality, raised by a single mother. And even if you were raised by a married mother who had masculine tendencies, you may have developed, and I definitely developed, a masculine energetic makeup. And really, it was something to protect and provide for my own self, which is something that I saw my mother embody, that masculine, remember, protecting and providing. So a lot of times we come to this identity within ourselves as as a survival mechanism. Okay, a lot of times it's modeled. A lot of times we don't have strong masculine energy around. A lot of times we experience trauma at an early age. We experience sexual abuse. We experience the over sexualization of men, of catcalling, especially myself being from upstate New York. Just in the North in general, women are, we are kind of given the label of being feisty, being aggressive. And I think a lot of this is because of this, because we have kind of been put in this light of, we have to protect ourselves. I can clearly remember, even now, it doesn't really happen as much anymore, but, walking to the corner store and seeing a group of guys outside and just feeling this anxiety kind of fill me, like, oh my God, they're gonna, you know what I mean? Feeling like, okay, I got to kind of put on this armor because they're going to be, catcalling me. They're going to be trying to get my number. If I decline, then they're going to start calling me the B word, and so a lot of us have had this experience that, we were in situations as we were developing where we felt that, we needed to be protected and provided for. And since there was no one available to do that, we then had to do that for ourselves. Okay. Yes, my mom as well. So I can definitely agree with that, Labria, for sure. And so I think what's so important to learn, and also the other thing, controlling. Okay, if you have been called controlling, or if you think of, when you think of the people who raised you as your mom raised you, and you think of her as controlling, that is a very masculine trait, to want to control and be in charge and kind of micromanage. Very masculine. So what I want to talk about tonight is that it's okay for us to decide at any point in time that we want to change that. Okay, we can identify what it is that we want to become and what it is that we want to magnetize and attract to ourselves. And it's not permanent, it's not a tattoo. It's not something that's on us and, we can't get rid of it. Well, you can get rid of tattoos, but you know what I mean? It's something that we can decide to change. Now, it does take energy. It does take effort. And the main thing that it takes is awareness. Okay. We first have to be aware of these traits within ourselves. We first have to kind of take a moment, and really reflect and be still. Okay. And so, one of the things that I think is super important is, first and foremost, to get ourselves into some therapy or some coaching that's going to help us release old trauma. Okay. Because our trauma is what has created this defense mechanism, okay, of wanting to be overly masculine. And I've kind of been, taking in some content about, divine feminine and attracting men and attracting partners and all that. And that's great. But I think first things first is to focus on yourself before you think about attracting a partner. But just in the back of your mind, understand that masculine women kind of, they're a little bit of a deterrent for truly masculine men. And I think that it's safe to say that we all want a masculine man. Okay. But when we have this persona and this energy about us that's very protected, very guarded, I do it by myself. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need help. I make money. I don't care about marriage. I don't need, you know what I mean? Like that is something that people can read that on you without even opening your mouth, just by looking at you and looking at your body language and looking at how you're presenting yourself. Are you taking time to pour into yourself and to honor your own self and your feminine beauty? Are you beautifying yourself? Are you taking time to, put a little bit of lipstick on, put something nice on? Are you showing up, in sweatpants? A lot of times, and I've done this, I have definitely, been in leggings all day. Like I love leggings. I still love leggings. I'm not giving up my leggings, but imagine, okay, that you are running an errand, okay, and you're like, oh, I'm just running out to the store. Okay. Imagine that your potential partner is behind you in line or in front of you in line, and they just look over you because you haven't taken the time to present yourself as the prize. Okay. And that's something that I talked about in my email today, is really understanding that when you have a womb, you are the prize, period, point blank. You have a divine ability to procreate. Okay. And whether it's children, whether it's ideas, okay, whether it's turning a house into a home, whether it's beautifying your home, whether it is, the list goes on and on and on. But the bottom line is that we are the prize, and somewhere along the way that has been reversed, and we have started looking at men as the prize. Okay. And that's not to say that men are not important and that we cannot think of them as the prize, but that should only happen once they have proven themselves. And I think what happens a lot of times, I know what happened with me, is that I didn't necessarily give men the opportunity to prove themselves because I was so much in my masculine and kind of wanting to do it for them or make excuses as to why, they weren't stepping up, reaching in my wallet, always wanting to, oh, I can, we can go in on that. No, God, no, God, no, God, no, God. Like, um, I've been told I'm controlling and I've been told I'm controlling and didn't recognize this until a life coach made me aware 2 years ago. I am now working on it, and I catch myself when I'm showing that controlling spirit. Yes, God. So exactly, Labria. And so this is, the first thing that we need to normalize therapy and or coaching. A lot of times it's difficult for us to remove ourselves from our experience and observe ourselves, but it can be done. It can be done with practice. You have to first, my main thing, and this is what I wrote down my notes, number one main thing that will change your entire life, that can immediately cause you to be more feminine. Okay. And some people aren't going to like this. Okay. Shut your mouth. Be quiet. Okay. Not saying that never talk or, never express yourself. In observing myself, and also now having kind of shifting this consciousness to this um, feminine masculine paradigm, what I notice with so many of us women is that we talk too much and we interrupt. And what we're doing is we're talking ourselves right out of opportunities. We are talking ourselves right into the same old situations that we have always been in. We're meeting people and we're telling them all about our past. We are dating people and we're telling them everything that's on our mind, everything that's going on in every area of our lives. We are not categorizing and valuing the mystery and allure that comes along with embracing and embodying your feminine nature. Okay, a huge part of femininity is to not always be an open book. Okay. And when I'm talking about femininity, this again, I don't want this conversation to be talking about just getting a man or getting a partner. This is about the world. This is about how the world responds to feminine energy. So it's not just your partner, it's your brother, your dad, the person in the grocery store, women, okay? You get a totally different response when you are embodying your feminine energy from everyone. Okay? Yes, that's me. Yes. Yes. So I would challenge all of us to kind of reflect on the past and presently and identify, are you talking too much? Is this because a lot of times I would do this, I would talk to fill the silence because I wasn't comfortable with there being silence. So the way that masculine and feminine energy interplay with each other, and again, this is not just about men and women, this can be a conversation between two women. Okay. And again, remember, we all have the feminine and the masculine energy. So what happens is when we're doing all of this, which is masculine, and we need to do that. We need to be masculine. I'm not saying, ladies, yes, we need to stay in our bag. We need that masculine energy. We need that hustle, that get up and go, that do. Okay. We also need to make sure it's balanced and that we're not exhausting ourselves and that we are following Pareto's principle 80-20 of making sure that we are allowing our essence to create for us more so than all that grit, hustle, and grind. Okay. But back to the example of when you allow silence, you give other people the opportunity to step up. You give other people the opportunity to problem solve. You give other people the opportunity to provide solutions. Again, a lot of times we are talking ourselves out of provision. Okay. And I know that, with feminism and the feminist movement and, I can do everything a man can do. That's nice. But do you want to? Do you really want to do everything a man can do? I don't. I don't want to take the garbage out. I can. I don't want to, go to pick up trash and take it to the dump. I don't want to do that. I don't want to wear a hard hat and, be working construction all day in the hot sun and, be sweating all day. I don't want to do that. Could I do that? Am I capable of doing that? Yes. That doesn't mean that I want to do that. The second thing beyond being quiet. So number one, being more quiet. The second thing is boundaries. Okay. And this is such a paradox because alpha women, which is another term for overly masculine women, it's so contradictory because alpha women actually tend to lack boundaries. which you would think that, okay, if you're alpha, then you kind of, you're strong, you're aggressive, you da da da. But what I found and also observed even with myself, especially when it comes to interpersonal relationships, is that the alpha overly masculine nature again is a defense mechanism. And when it comes down to truly making the decisions that prove and show that I value myself, aka boundaries, I was cowardly about that. I was not firm with that. Okay. And that is an example of something that, I've talked about before, and that, it's so easy for you to say yes. It's easy to say, yes, I want to do this. And yes, I want that brownie. And yes, I want that. And so the issue comes in when it's time to say no. When it's time to say, no, I'm not going to eat that because it's not good for me. No, I'm not going to eat that because I'm currently trying to level up my physique. No, I'm not going to allow that type of behavior because I have standards for myself. No, I'm not going to take a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning because I have decided, okay, and all it takes is a decision. A boundary is enforcing a decision, but unfortunately, sometimes we haven't actually made a decision. We've identified a desire, but a desire is not the same as a decision. Okay. A decision is something that is resolute. And once you make it, your actions after that reflect the decision. Okay. Yes, God. This is a whole sermon, homily, word talk. This is so needed. Come on now. This is needed. I'm here for all of it. Thank you. Yes, God. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is important. Okay. So as to the point of the decision, okay, when you decide that, let's see, anything, when you decide like, okay, I'm going to go to hot yoga in the morning, which is something that I've recently started doing again. Thank you, God. It's been restoring my whole soul. I love it. I love looking and feeling younger every day. That's one of my affirmations. When I decide that I'm going to hot yoga, okay, my actions then reflect that decision, right? So I am going to, since it's at 5 a.m. and I have to leave the house by 5:20, it's at 6 a.m. actually, but I have to get up at no later than 5 a.m. I have to be out of this house by 5:20. I am now taking actions that reflect that decision. So I am going to bed early. I am laying out my mat and my clothes for the morning. I'm setting my alarm. When my alarm goes off, I'm getting up. I'm brushing my teeth. Okay. These are all decisions that are reflecting, these are all actions that are reflecting a decision that I have made. I'm going and I'm looking at the time. I'm like, okay, it's 5:19. I need to go ahead downstairs and put my shoes on, grab my keys, grab my bag, grab my water, get in the car, reverse out, and drive to the yoga studio. Okay. So all of those actions are reflecting a decision that I've made. Okay. So now let's take that over into the context of, let's say, relationships, and, making a decision that, you know what, I want to get married. I want to date a certain caliber of men. I want to, or not want to, I am going to now date a certain caliber of men. I am going to manifest a life partner and get married. Okay. That decision is no different than deciding that you're going to go to hot yoga. Okay. Because the actions that you take from that decision until you have actually accomplished that need to reflect that. So if I decide that I'm going to start dating a certain caliber of man, am I still going to respond to a booty call at 1 o'clock in the morning because the sex is good? Is that an action that reflects that decision? No, it's not. And so this is something that, again, I'm speaking from personal experience. This all everything that I'm talking about right now are things that I have reflected on and that I have kind of gleaned from my own experience over the last 40 years. Okay. So saying that you want something and actually deciding that you're going to have something are two different things. And this is where we have to truly take accountability for ourselves, our actions, and our decisions and our inconsistencies. Okay. And this rolls right into we cannot generalize men based on our poor decision making. Okay. And this is something that I see a lot. Okay. Oh, there's no good men. Niggas ain't, all these F boys and da 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 da. Okay. But guess what? Who chose him? Who entertained him? Who decided that somebody who responds to you 4 hours with a one word answer was someone that we were going to continue to allow to have access to our energy? No God. Okay. So boundaries. Okay. Super, super important. Boundaries are simply following through with the decisions that we have made. Okay. And it's impossible to follow through with decisions that we've made if we haven't made the decision yet. Okay. How many years? You're gorgeous and I'm all the way tapped in. Yay. Thank you so much. Yes, God. Okay. Number 3 on my list that I have ties into being quiet. Stop interrupting. It's number 1, it's rude. Okay. Number 2, it shows that you're not listening. You are listening to respond rather than listening to understand. And those are two very different things. All right. Self-awareness is so important. Okay. We have to truly start paying attention to ourselves. All right. And a great place to do that, especially if we have single mommies. Like I said, I was a single mother for a very long time. Okay. Observe how you interact with your children. Me and Damari did a great workshop a couple months back called I Used to Spank My Kids, and it was amazing. Being aware of yourself means that you're observing yourself. Okay. You're reflecting on the things that you say. You're reflecting on how the things that you say may be perceived by other people. Okay. You are observing your words. You're observing your thoughts. You're observing your behaviors. Okay. A very common overly masculine trait is to be competitive. Okay. Excuse me. Looking at other women and saying, oh, I wish I had that, or I can do, or, I do better than that, or comparing, competing, trying to prove. Okay. Start to take inventory of how you are showing up. Start to reflect on how are other people experiencing me. Okay. If I say that I want to manifest or attract a husband, okay, how am I showing up to the potential suitors in my life? Are there any actual potential suitors in my life? Okay. If they're not actual potential suitors, why are they in my life? Why do they have access to me? Okay. Also, who do you speak to about life? Who do you get advice from? Are these people that are in or have accomplished or have manifested things that you want? Or are you trauma bonding with them? Okay. Do you have a friend that you always call when it's time to complain? Okay. Are you willing to switch places with the people that you converse with on a regular basis? Okay. We should not be getting advice from people who we are not willing to switch places with. Okay. Also, being more patient. Okay. This is a huge part of being controlling. A lot of times, controlling behaviors and overly masculine kind of traits are based in fear because we're fearing a certain outcome. Okay. But energetically, what you are fearing is actually persisting and is actually it's manifesting because even though it may not be something consciously that you're thinking about, oh, I'm scared that this is going to happen. I'm scared that it comes out as this needs to happen and you need to do this and this. That fear, that subconscious fear is the place that we attract from. Okay. It's a place that we manifest from. We are manifesting from our subconscious. We're not manifesting from our conscious. That's why, you can say all day long, oh, I want to drop 20 pounds. Okay. But if subconsciously you're telling yourself every time you look in the mirror, oh my God, you're so fat. Oh my God, you can never lose weight. Oh my God, why are you? And and when you have a chocolate chip cookie, you're like, oh my God, this is why I'm so fat. This is why. Okay. That's the place that you are manifesting from. You're not manifesting from the decision, okay, or the desire rather, because again, if you've made a decision, remember your actions are going to reflect the decision that you've made. All right. So we have to walk in integrity about the decisions that we make, and we have to be willing to check ourselves and say, you know what, I decided that this is what I want now. And what I'm doing right now is not reflecting that decision that I made. Okay. And also having compassion with ourselves, being kind to ourselves, not judging ourselves, not scrutinizing ourselves, because that is something that will, again, manifest other people to judge you, will manifest other people to scrutinize you. Okay. So we're always experiencing ourselves pushed out. Okay, that's a whole nother video, but I highly recommend checking out Neville Goddard's work. And a lot of the things that I'm talking about are touching on self-concept. I'm not going to go too deep into it in this video, but the bottom line is that the concept that we have of ourselves in that subconscious and how we truly feel about ourselves is going to really determine the experiences that we have. Okay. And so the thing is, when we're accountable to ourselves and we start to take action that reflects our decisions and our boundaries, we start to gain self-confidence. We start to gain self-worth. We start to get used to accomplishment. Okay. We start to prime ourselves to do what we say we're going to do. Okay. Another thing is gratitude. Okay. If you're taking breath, if you are breathing in and out, you should not be complaining about anything. Okay. You shouldn't be. I understand that, life is hard. Things that we see that are happening in the world are hard. Okay. If we're not discussing solutions, we shouldn't be complaining. Okay. We know that, especially in this country, we deal with certain constructs. Okay. And I'm not even going to really go into that conversation because it's not what this is for. But the bottom line is we have to accept society for what it is, and we have to accept other people for who they are. People show you who they are within the first 10 minutes of meeting them. You know why? Because how someone does anything is how they do everything. Okay? If you meet someone and you make a plan and you say, hey, let's hang out tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and you both agree on it. Okay. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock comes, you're at the location, you haven't heard anything from them, and then at 11:05, hey, I'm so sorry, da da da. No, that person did not have the courtesy to contact you before the agreed upon time. You will get nothing but more and more and more of that if you continue to maintain that relationship. And that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, because it's a boundary. Okay. Now, I'm not saying if there was a dire, so, oh my God, I got in a car accident on the way there, yes, of course, that's a different situation, but we got to start getting real with ourselves. We got to stop making excuses for people, and start to really wrap our minds around the fact that how we do anything is how we do everything. And not just as a judgment for other people, but also as a reflection and accountability for ourselves. Do I tell people that I'm going to do things and then I don't show up? Do I say I'm going to respond and then I don't? Even the small things. Do I move with integrity? Okay. And because when we are truly observing ourselves and others for who they truly are, we can let go of the unrealistic expectations. Okay. We can let go of not understanding why people are a certain way or aren't doing a certain thing. They're not doing it because that's not who they are. No matter how much you want something for someone, no matter how much you desire something, or you can see the potential in someone, or the potential, or they did it one time, but the norm is not. We got to be real with ourselves. We have to be honest. Okay. Slowing down and taking time. One thing that I notice, especially being from Rochester, New York, is, and just New York and up north in general, is a very fast pace. Okay. Got this, okay. Moving at a fast pace all the time, and not to say that's not required in certain situations and certain dynamics, but moving at a fast pace all the time does not allow you to have gratitude, because you are not being present in the moment. So many times we get caught up in hustling, bustling, working, trying, going, doing, and those are all masculine traits. Okay. Again, not to say that we need that. Sometimes we do need that. We need it when it comes to our income, or our business, or our job, or going to the gym to work out, or sometimes parenting, organizing, cooking dinner, making sure homework's done. We need those things in some cases, but for me personally, I found I was busying myself when it wasn't necessary, because I equated busyness with productivity. And what happens when you equate busyness with productivity is you burn out. Excuse me. And you're not going slow enough to actually receive. You're blocking yourself from receiving, because you're so busy doing that anyone who has the chance to observe you, they're like, oh, she doesn't need me. Okay. So different ways that we can, really just right now that we can start implementing this. Okay. Take time for yourself, for your interest, your hobbies, what actually makes you happy. Okay. We have to stop, number one, chasing relationships. I know a lot of people that are on this live stream know me, and they kind of know a little bit about my story and my husband. And I always am very transparent about the fact I was not looking for a relationship. I was not looking for a man. I was not looking for a husband. I wasn't doing any of that. I was simply enjoying my life. I was loving myself. I was taking care of myself. I was getting my health in order. I was fasting. I was extending my telomeres through fasting, because for me, fasting is not just about weight, it's about overall health. It's about cellular repair, it's about cellular regeneration. Okay. And also, it's about discipline. It's about being able to have boundaries with myself. So that's another important thing to note about boundaries, is that a lot of times we contextualize boundaries as being with other people, when really the initial boundary needs to happen with myself. Okay. I first need to say to myself, I am no longer available for that. I am no longer engaging in that. Okay. That's not who I am anymore. And when we have those boundaries we can start to create those boundaries within our own selves. That's when they translate out into boundaries with other people. Okay. But a great exercise to do is to start thinking about your internal boundaries. Okay. Do you have any? Do you need some? If you do need some, what are they? Okay, what type of boundaries would help you to become the woman that you desire to be, the goddess that you truly are in your inner nature? Okay, because the thing is that ultimately it's no one else's responsibility to make you happy. Not your children, not your partner, not your friends, no one. It's nobody's responsibility but your own. Okay. And if you cannot find happiness as a single person, you are not going to find happiness as a married or engaged or in a person that's in a relationship. Okay. Learning to control our emotions. First way that we can do that, keep the mouth shut. That in and of itself is going to be a huge challenge for a lot of people. Sometimes it's even a huge challenge for me. When you're in the thick of it and somebody's pissed you off and somebody's triggered you, you know, a lot of times the first response is to and give people a piece of your mind and tell them about themselves and let them know and okay. But at the end of the day, silence is louder than any word you can say. Okay? Silence is the most powerful communication that you can have, because silence indicates a boundary. Okay. And silence is something that even if you're not convinced of that boundary yet, it will still communicate that boundary. All right. The problem with going off and telling people and letting them know and this and that is that now you're an open book. Okay. They have all the information that they need to be able to manipulate you. I have boundaries with my self-talk. When the mean talk shows up, I recognize and question that talk. What do I need? What is upsetting me? And yes, silence. Sometimes I just need to be quiet. Yes, God. It's such a powerful tool. Okay. Your anger. And when I say control your emotions, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have emotions. Okay. Emotions are natural. Um, Emotions are something that are very powerful if managed and directed properly. Okay. It's not, emotions shouldn't be a verbal kind of vomit. They should be funneled and managed so that they become valuable. Okay. People should not have access to your emotional state all the time. Okay. Especially people who have not earned that privilege. Okay. And this goes back to the feminine principle of being mysterious. Okay. I was watching another amazing YouTuber named Chloe. I highly recommend checking out her channel. I highly recommend checking out the Universe Guru's channel. I highly recommend checking out Shira Seven's channel. Okay. Chloe talks about making your anger expensive. And I resonated with that so much. I was like, ugh, wow. Yes, God, to that. Okay. Make yourself valuable by not verbally committing all the time. Okay. Partners, even friendship, they're not meant to know every single facet of you. Okay. The reason why femininity is about is embodies mystery and allure is because it keeps people wanting more. Okay. When you read a book from start to finish, what do you do with the book? Unless it's a really, really good book. But typically you put it down, okay, and you're done with it. Even if it's a really good book, you put it down and you're done with it. You may come back to it later, but you put it down because you've read everything. Okay. The same thing with energy. If people know everything about you and you are an open book, what happens? Okay. Yeah, stop chasing relationships, platonic and romantic. Yes, God. Hi, what's Chloe's channel? It's just her name, Chloe. And I think there's an underscore after it or before it. I don't remember right now. But yeah, she's really good. I really like Chloe a lot. Okay. So yeah, the divine masculine, it's a wounded, excuse me, I didn't mean to say that. The divine masculine has been wounded. Okay. And it's unclear about how it needs to show up because our overly alpha toxic masculine characteristics are kind of like off-putting. It's like, okay, well, women want us to protect and provide, but they still entertaining people who are not protecting and providing. You know, women want to be protected and provided for, but they are not caring about themselves and, you know, and they're not emulating this divine feminine energy. Okay. And divine feminine does not mean, you know, being a pushover or, you know, just kind of just, oh, just anything, you know, it's again, the main thing about being in that divine feminine embodiment is the boundaries and not entertaining men who are not in their divine masculine. Okay. It is not a woman's job to chase a man. It is not a woman's job to call a man. It is not a woman's job to set up a date with a man. It is not a woman's job to pay for things for a man. Okay. All of these things are emasculating a man. Okay. And yes, I am talking in the context of heterosexual relationships right now because I am heterosexual. Yes, God. But so those are my notes and what I kind of wanted to just share. If anyone has any questions or any comments, please feel free to share them with me or share them with us. There's a group of us in here. I'm so grateful to see that. And I just wanted to kind of just make sure that everyone knows that on the 6th of June, we're going to be doing a deep dive diving into our divine feminine and really kind of going deep and customizing what that looks like for us as individuals. And so if you are interested in that, you can sign up for that on June 6th. It's a Zoom session. If you do sign up for that and you're not able to make it, you will receive the replay, of course. And then at the end of the month, on June 27th, I'm actually going to be in Atlanta vending my womb wellness products at the Sip and Mix, hosted by the Butter Bar. So all of that information will be available in the description of this video. Also, if you are following me on Instagram at Yes God Wellness, you can click the link in my bio and that is there as well. And I'm so thankful and grateful that you showed up to spend some time with me this evening. It really means a lot to me. I am really enjoying this journey and this revelation, and just understand that, you know, with healing and with life in general, we never arrive. Like I don't ever see myself saying, okay, I'm healed. This is it. Now I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's a constant journey. So be kind to yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Understand that we all experience different levels of consciousness, and it's not always an upward journey. Sometimes we're here and then we kind of falter a little bit, and then we go up a little bit and we come back some more, and then we can jump up. It's really we are really empowered to decide whatever we want and take action that reflects those decisions. I have a question. When it comes to dating, if the man is very limited in his responses or doesn't share much, is that a red flag, or is he protecting his divine masculinity? Okay, that is a huge red flag. Okay, divine masculine men are pursuers. Okay, they communicate. That is a red flag. That is someone who you should not. So here's the thing. Let me give an analogy, okay? And actually, I got this from the Universe Guru, so I want to make sure I give credit to her, okay? Think of feminine energy as an egg and masculine energy as a sperm, okay? What does an egg and a sperm do? The egg sits and waits for a, what's the word I'm looking for? For a suitable, okay, a suitable sperm to penetrate, okay? So for the sperm to be able to penetrate, what are they doing? They are in their masculine, okay? They are moving, they're grooving, they're shaking, they're bumping the other sperm out of the way, they're getting to, if a man is not bringing that energy to you, drop him like a bad habit, okay? That's it. There is no, he's not a divine masculine if he's not communicating, okay? He's wounded, he has issues, and he sounds like a beta male to me. Okay, and being careful, doesn't want to be an open book. I notice most women, okay, he doesn't want to be an open book because his book sucks. So close it, drop it back off of the library, and that's the end of that. Thank you so much. I'm in a social environment that is predominantly men, and me being aware of how I show up is how they seeing me has been shifting. Yes, God. So that's the thing. When you start to show up in your divine feminine, that will activate the masculine in men. Okay. And Labria, just to go back really quick on your comment about him not wanting to be an open book, that should be you. You should be the one that's not an open book. You should be the one who's not talking. You should be the one not willing to share it. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's a complete role reversal. What the situation you just described. But what you'll find is when you start showing up in your divine feminine, you are activating everyone around you and their masculine to come in and protect and provide for you. Okay. Whether it's in regards to work, whether it's in regards to holding the door for you, whether it's in regards to letting you go in traffic, okay, whether it's in regards to giving you free things, whether it's in regards to being extra patient with you, okay? What I caught is resonated with me. Thank you for sharing. Yes, say that. Love the analogy. Yes, God. Yes. Wonderful. Yes, God. Yeah, it's so powerful. Paying for your stuff, exactly. paying for your stuff. And the thing is again, we have been so accustomed to guarding that, to kind of keeping ourselves. I mean, I know for me personally, I had a subconscious limiting belief that if I got dressed up and put makeup on and looked nice, that I was going to be sexually harassed. It's not something that was at the forefront of my mind, but it was kind of like a personality trait that I kind of embodied. Like, oh, I'm just natural. I don't need all that. That's shallow. Makeup is shallow. Lipstick is shallow. Putting nice clothes on, that's shallow. That's materialistic. No, it's actually covering up for fear. Okay. It's actually a tiny bit of low self-esteem. Okay. So let's be honest about the real reason why we're walking around looking like frumpy dumb. Okay. We shouldn't do that. Okay. And if we know that we have that kind of, that desire to become more attractive or be more attractive, it first needs to be for us. It doesn't need to be to attract someone else. It needs to be so that when I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn it, you look good. I like earrings. Okay, got a little matchy hat, man. That's not for anyone else but me. Does my husband appreciate it and love it? Absolutely. Do I notice his energy change to me when I am, dolled up? Absolutely. Okay. Does he love me no matter what, even if I look like crap? Absolutely. This was right on time. I so needed this. Thank you so much. You are so welcome. You're so welcome. I am so thankful and so grateful that everyone showed up. I'm just going to say a quick prayer because that's just what I do. Dear God, thank you so much for allowing us to have this safe space to discuss this very, very important topic. We thank you so much for the wisdom that we have been able to receive tonight. And we thank you for just always continuing to give us messages. Even me, as I share this information, you are giving me downloads as I'm sharing what I've learned and giving me more revelation. So I just thank you so much for my life, for our lives, for the breaths that we take, for the provisions that we have, for our access to technology, for our access to YouTube, for the ability to hear, for the ability to see, for the ability to be mobile, stand up and walk, for the ability to make decisions, for the ability to set boundaries, for the ability to for technology, to have access to so much information that wasn't available to us during formative years. We're so thankful that we can start to implement these changes and start to reflect and be more aware of ourselves and really move more towards the divine feminine goddesses that we were created to be. Okay. That hit for me. Yes. Not wanting to be seen. Yes. That's big. That's big because it's a protection. Again, that's that overly masculine wanting to protect and provide for ourselves. Well, if I look too pretty, then I'm going to get harassed. Okay. But also, if you look too pretty, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. You're going to maybe run into someone who's like, I want to get to know more about you. I think I might want to marry you. You're really pretty. What do you do for a living? Do you need a job? Okay, so understand that there's infinite sides to a story, okay? Any limiting belief that we have, there's infinite replacements that we can replace with it, and it's really up to us to choose, okay? And affirmations are an amazing way to do that, okay? I made a video on that on my YouTube channel. So anyways, I hope you all please like this video. If this has been helpful to you, please share it with someone else that you think it could be helpful for. Please subscribe to my channel. I plan on being a lot more active over here on YouTube. Instagram is just getting on my nerves. There's just too much noise over there. I'm grateful for the platform. I have boundaries, okay? And so that's that on that. So I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, Celestial Guided. And thank you for just honoring yourself and valuing yourself enough to be a part of this conversation. If you're watching this video later, thank you for the same thing. Thank you for spending some time into shifting your perspective. Okay. I love y'all, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.